Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video. My name is Nathaniel Morton and I am a strength and conditioning coach who specializes in vertical jump training. And I also know an awful lot about patella tendonitis and jumper's knee, which is why today's video is on how to add tendon health into your vertical jump training. I posted a community poll, I posted a survey, and this video won the majority of the votes. So this is the video that we are going to do. And there is a way to actively increase your vertical jump and get stronger knees while you do it. But there's a very specific way that you do it. If you don't do enough, then you get no change. If you do too much, then you get knee pain. So I'm going to teach you this in this video. But before we get into the video, make sure that you like this video and comment JUMP, J-U-M-P, down in the comment section if you want a free bodyweight vertical jump training program. And if you want me to personally coach you, it is $20 a month for me to make a customized program for you, whether or not you are in season, whether or not you have knee pain or not, whether or not you have access to equipment, if you want my upper body, if you want hip mobility, if you want ankle strength, if you want me to customize your macros and give you nutrition that is going to get you shredded and increase your performance. The link will be down below in the description and in the pinned comment. I will coach you to becoming the best athlete that you can be. Let's get into it. How to add tendon health into your vertical jump training. So I am an overachiever. Okay, so I'm gonna give you way more than this. I'm gonna give you the exercises that I do to make sure that my knees are strong. I'm going to give you all the rules and regulations to doing this properly, but this is the main role right here. This is really all that you need to understand. There is a sweet spot of progressive overload that you should be training at, and it's different for everybody. It's different for me, different for knees over toes guy, different for LeBron James, different for you, different for my girlfriend. Okay, everybody is different, but there's a sweet spot of progressive overload that each of us individually needs to be training at to stimulate our muscles, stimulate our central nervous system, cause an adaptation and a change in our body without doing too much that becomes overtraining, okay? So let's do it like this. First of all, progressive overload, most of you know what progressive overload is, but progressive overload just means to do more than you did last time. You do a few more reps than last time. You do 5 more pounds than last time. You do an extra set than last time. You do a harder exercise than last time. You're doing a little bit more than you did last time to cause a change in an adaptation in your body so that it is forced to change, adapt, and grow bigger, stronger, faster, more explosive. So that is progressive overload. But there's a sweet spot of progressive overload. If you train with not enough load, then you get no change. Think about if you're doing 3 sets of 10 bicep curls, okay? You're a beginner in the gym, you start doing 3 sets of 10, you start seeing muscles. But then you continue to do 3 sets of 10 bicep curls with 15 pounds for 3 months. Okay, eventually your body gets used to that, and 3 sets of 10 bicep curls with 15 pounds no longer causes a change or an adaptation in your body. You are no longer using enough load to stimulate your muscles to get stronger and more explosive, so you get no change. But then on the other side of the coin, if you do too much load, if you do too many reps, too much weight, especially for lower body and vertical jump training, if you go out and you do tons of reps of max jumps, or you squat 315 pounds on the bar and your body's only used to 135, you're going to get knee pain, okay? So there's a sweet spot in the middle of not enough load and too much load that is the perfect amount of load, and that equals gains, okay? But this is very specific in it. Like I said, it is different for everybody. It's different for me. When I go into the gym, I already know what I've been doing in the past. So these are the rules that I follow. I only ever increase 5 pounds per week on any given lift, because I know that if you load too quickly, that's going to cause patellar tendonitis, and if you do that over and over and over, that's going to cause patellar tendinopathy, and your tendons are going to start to degenerate, and you're going to get worse and worse and worse. On the other hand, if I don't do enough, I know that my body doesn't have a reason to change because I didn't stimulate it enough. So personally, I follow the rules of never adding more than 5 pounds to any given lift, and if I go and do something like plyometrics, I don't add more than 5 jumps, literally. If I'm doing depth jumps, okay, I'm not going and adding 20 reps of depth jumps. 5 more than last time. That's all my body needs to see a change, to realize, okay, we need to adapt, we need to be stimulated to change and get bigger, stronger, faster, more explosive without doing too much to the point where we get knee pain. And here's the main quote. This is the #1 rule. This is the #1 quote of this video. If you do this right, Every single workout that you do becomes a tendon strengthening session. The perfect amount of load plus recovery equals tendon strength and an increased vertical jump. Recovery, which is nutrition, make sure you're getting 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Sleep, make sure that you are sleeping as long as your body needs to sleep. Stop using an alarm. Go to bed at 7 p.m. if you need to, but stop using an alarm to wake up. Your body is meant to wake up when your body is meant to wake up. When the work is done in your brain, your muscles, your tendons, your central nervous system, your body will wake you up. Not when the alarm goes off and says, honey, it's time for school. So, nutrition, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Sleep until your body is ready to wake up. And then rest. Rest is just anything that is not working out. Don't work out all day long. It's self-explanatory. Sit down and relax, rest, recover. Allow your body to recover from that workout so that it is ready for your next workout, for you to stimulate it a little more. Moving on. These are the 9 causes of jumper's knee, and I want you to understand these 9 causes of jumper's knee and see if any of them apply to you, because if they do apply to you, that is going to dictate the exercises that you need to include in your training. So I'm going to give you these 9 causes of jumper's knee. I'm going to give you the exercises that will fix these 9 causes of jumper's knee, and then I will give you some extra exercises later on in the video that I personally do every single day. So, number 1, we already talked about this. The number 1 primary cause of jumper's knee and knee pain is overload of the tendons, too much load. This is 90% of the people who have jumper's knee and patella tendonitis. It is because they are doing too much. You're playing basketball too much, you're doing vertical jump training too much, you're squatting too heavy too often. It's because you are doing too much. We already talked about that. This is the primary cause. So moving on. Number 2 is weak glutes. If you have weak glutes, you have to understand that your glutes control the movement of your thigh. So when you're running and jumping and landing from a jump, if you have weak glutes, you're more likely for your knees to cave in or out. Not to mention that your knee is like a track. It's like a train that needs to go on the track. And if you have weak glutes, you could have improper tracking of your knee. So you need to strengthen up your glutes, and that moves me to the next one. You need to strengthen up your hamstrings, because these two go together. If you have weak glutes and weak hamstrings, then you are more likely to, when you land from a jump, rely on your quads and your patellar tendon to absorb the force of that jump. Okay, if you strengthen up your glutes and you strengthen up your hamstrings and you get more balanced, then your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads, your patellar tendon can all work together to absorb that force of you landing from a jump. So for weak glutes and weak hamstrings, something that you could do is 3 sets of 10 monster walks, or 3 sets of 10 lateral side steps, or some barbell hip thrusts. For hamstrings, you could do 3 sets of 10 Nordic curls, or 3 sets of 10 one-leg Romanian deadlifts. But if you strengthen your glutes and your hamstrings, you are less likely to have patella tendonitis if this is the primary cause of your patella tendonitis. Then we have tight quads, calves, and hamstrings. And I do want to point out, I personally have tight quads, tight calves, tight hamstrings. I have poor ankle mobility. I have poor hip mobility. I am tight in general, but I am working on it every day. And if you remedy these and you start working on it every day, you are less likely to get patella tendonitis if these are your problems. So whether or not you have it, work on these every day. So tight quads, tight calves, tight hamstrings. This would just be like a quad stretch or a couch stretch, calf stretch, and then a hamstring stretch. Or you could do mobility if you're on the PJF Performance train and you don't want to do any stretching, which I actually am. Just do mobility instead. Up here, poor ankle mobility. If you notice knees over toes guy when he does the Patrick step up or the ATG split squat, look at his ankle mobility. It is incredible. So if you have poor ankle mobility and you can't move your knee that far past your toe, then that is likely to contribute to patella tendonitis and knee pain. Same thing with hip mobility. If you have poor hip mobility, then that is going to be more likely to cause patella tendonitis and knee pain. So you need to be working on these. And you could do something like adding in 3 sets of 10 Patrick step up or 3 sets of 10 ATG split squat. For the poor hip mobility, you could do 10 reps each direction of a hip swivel, and that will take care of that. Wrong foot alignment. This is big because it also causes improper tracking of the knee. Like I said, the knee is a train track. It wants to go straight up and down. If you have wrong foot alignment, especially when you're doing something like playing basketball, when you're doing a defensive slide, your feet are all the way out here and you're sliding like this, that causes your knee to turn into external rotation. In that tracking of the knee, it wants to go up and down. Now you start to get wrong, improper tracking of your knee. So if you're moving your feet like this, try to get your feet to go straight and move with your feet straight. So guys, those are the 9 causes of jumper's knee that could be affecting you. So I would work on remedying all of these. Get stronger glutes, get stronger hamstrings, work a little bit through mobility on your quads, calves, hamstrings, your ankle mobility, and your hip mobility, and then make sure you're moving with proper foot alignment. Let's move on to the next part of the video, and I'll give you more information that would be good, especially if you have knee pain right now. You need to understand which types of exercises your tendons love and which types of exercises your tendons hate. Your tendons love isometrics and eccentrics. These make them stronger. Your tendons do not necessarily like fast concentrics, but it's the fast concentrics that give us that rate of force development and the higher vertical jump. So we need these, but we have to properly load up to these so that we can do them without getting knee pain. So the first thing that you do, especially if you have knee pain or you are a beginner, or even now, I even add these to my training. I always do some sort of isometric and eccentric in my training. They're just different blocks of my training, but you need to do these first before you get into concentric. So start with isometric exercises if you are having knee pain or if you're a beginner. Then you can slowly add in some eccentrics. And I have the arrow here because number 1, your tendons love these 2, but number 2, these can be interchanged. You can do eccentrics before you do isometrics, or you could do isometrics like a wall sit or a lunge hold or things like that before you do eccentrics like a slow slant board eccentric squat. But either one of these, both of these, have to come before concentric. So an example, let me give you squats. The full progression of squats, you would start with a wall sit, okay? Isometric, wall sit, letting your body get used to that. Then you start doing some eccentric squats on the way down. Then you do eccentric squats on the way down and slow squats on the way up. Then as you progressive overload the weight on the squats, you also progressive overload the speed on the squats. So I know you guys know John Evans. John Evans is a big fan of going slow during squats for knee strength. But then you need to eventually start to go faster and faster and faster, progressive overloading the speed of the exercise so that you can do full intent, max explosive squats, rate of force development training with the concentric portion, and your body, your muscles, your tendons are going to be used to that because you started slow. And then you got faster, and then you got faster and faster and faster until now you could do the full squat as fast as you want and you will get no knee pain. So that's what you need to understand. Your tendons love isometrics and eccentrics. They don't love concentrics. So what you need to do is isometrics and eccentrics before you do concentrics and train your way to going faster and faster and faster during the concentric, and you will be fine. Next, these are the exercises that I always do. I add these every single week, sometimes every single day, to my training plan to make sure that I am continuously strengthening my knees. Number 1 is reverse dead mills. And these have been made famous by Knees Over Toes guy, but I do 3 sets of 2 minutes every single day. If you have knee pain, start with every other day, but if you don't have knee pain, you could do these every single day. It's gonna be a great warm up. It's gonna be a great pump for your VMO muscle, and it is going to be a great knee strength exercise because it flushes the blood to the knees, which promotes healing and gets you warmed up if you do these before your workouts. And that's what I do. I do these before every upper body and lower body exercise, 3 sets of 2 minutes each, and I rest 1 minute in between. Then ankle bounces. When I have my major workout days and I'm doing high level plyometrics like bounding, like jump sessions, depth jumps, things like that, sprints, I don't do these ankle bounces because I'm already doing high level plyos. But on my off days, my upper body days or my rest days, I do low level ankle bounces and lateral line jumps. 3 sets of 25 each. So I made a video called Why I Do Plyometrics Every Day. I don't do high level plyometrics every day. That would be overtraining. But I do low level plyometrics on the days that I'm not doing high level plyometrics. And 3 sets of 25 ankle jumps is not going to be too much for your tendons to handle unless you have knee pain right now. In that case, I wouldn't do this. I would slowly progressive overload with the sweet spot progressive overload for you. Then mobility 3 times per week. So this helps for 2 reasons. Number 1 is because mobility gets blood flowing to that area of the body. And the way to promote healing is to get blood to your knees. So this gets blood to your knees, but also what mobility does is removes the contributing factors of patellar tendonitis. If you have low ankle dorsiflexion, that contributes to patellar tendonitis and knee pain in athletes. If you have poor hip mobility, that contributes. If you have poor hamstring flexibility, that contributes. If you have tight quads, these all contribute to knee pain. So you just gotta make sure that you're loose. You don't gotta get crazy flexible and do the splits, but make sure that you are loose, and mobility will flush the blood to those muscles without doing that stretching and pulling on the muscles, pulling on the tendons. It'll just get you more mobile, which will knock off those contributing factors to patellar tendonitis, and it will flush blood to the area, which will promote healing. So these are the exercises that I do all week, sometimes every single day, that will increase the strength of my knees as I actively increase my vertical jump. But guys, I just want to remind you, the number 1 thing that you need to do is train with just a little bit more intensity than you did in your last workout. That is the way that you continue to strengthen your knees. You do a little bit more, then you let your body recover from that workout. And therefore you will get bigger, stronger, faster, more explosive with stronger knees by doing your normal workouts every single day. This was how to add tendon health into your vertical jump training program. Like this video, comment jump if you want a free vertical jump training program. $20 a month if you want me to coach you through all of my programs and custom coaching for you. And I will see you guys in the next video.
Young visionary, and I don't know where I am. I'm running blindfolded like I ain't got a plan.